Good afternoon, Gary.
Good afternoon, sir.
Congratulations on the brand new album.
Thank you.
How does it feel?
Well, it's a bit of a relief to have something out and feel like people might hear the Jayhawks name again.
Because it has been a bit of a while. And as I say, with this album, any expectation? I think there's just from fans all over the show. I think certainly an international expectation with this album's release.
I don't really have any expectations because I've been doing it long enough to know that it's kind of fruitless to come to expect anything. You just do the best you can. You can keep your fingers in the business side of it as much as you can to make sure that you're giving yourself a chance. But there's no guarantees. I think we're fairly realistic in that we don't expect to dethrone the Backstreet Boys. I think one expectation is that we want to available to our fans as much as possible wherever they are. Which means we'll tour as much as we can, more so than we have in quite a while. I know there's talk of us going to Australia, and we're trying to talk the record company into having a stop in South Africa on the way. We'll see what happens. That would be probably early next year.
Stunning.
If that happens.
Because as I say, 15 years, into your career, you were doing, you've always done the style of music that you have. For it to now almost become a mainstream, obviously a lot of younger bands have picked up on what you were doing and obviously tweaked it. In a lot of in a lot of senses, you broke a lot of ground. I think in your area of music, in sort of blending folk and country, and then sort of getting it out to the masses and have it translate. Is that something that you sort of aware of and sort of are happy to sort of shout about?
I'm proud of what we've done. I'm proud of what we did from when you think about what was going on in 1985 when we got together. It was fairly unique, and I think we've been called many things. Retro. In many ways, we've been ahead of our time. Out of step might be a better term. Now we've done that blend so long that we've kind of taken it into different areas, and who knows that we may still be a bit out of step with the rest of the scene.
Was that always the intention with the band, to sort of offer something a little different and not sort of coach the mainstream?
Well, I don't think we could really look ourselves in the mirror and feel like we were trying to do something that was popular. We came from a very fertile music scene in the Minneapolis, St. Paul, which probably had something to do with it. The fact that we had the best rock bands going, what I would think. There's still seminal bands and Husker Du and Replacements and Soul Asylum and a bunch of things like that. We felt like we didn't want to just become another, copy, wannabe, Husker Du. So I think that probably had something to do with contributing to our searching for something a little different.
And is it refreshing to you to sort of be credited for being a band that stuck to their guns and didn't sort of sell out or make a seminal pop tune for the sake of doing it, and have it become as popular as it has, but in its own right?
Well, and I don't think there's anything wrong with a seminal pop tune.
Okay.
I think that's a good thing. I guess I'm glad we've been able to do it our own way. I don't have any kind of feeling of yeah, we're outside the mainstream, and I'm glad that we are huge. I mean, I don't think that's my. I'm not excited about being a cult band, but I'm glad that we've been able to do something our own way.
But almost to have it become popular music.
Almost is the definitive word there. Almost become popular music. Yeah, it is. It's all relative, isn't it?
Sure.
It's very popular. I'm sorry, I'm doing two things at once.
Not a problem.
Dishes, as you can hear.
Yes. Not a problem.
This isn't a radio thing, is it?
No, it's not.
Okay, I want to make sure I wasn't making too much noise. It feels good to do something our own way. It's hard because you feel a bit alone most of the time, and certain people get it, and certain people don't. People who get it are really are loyal, though.
Sure.
Very loyal.
And I think that's certainly, part of your success is that the fans that you've coached from the beginning, have probably stayed with you and obviously coached, to the audience that you have now. And it is very much, I think, the people that listen to the Jayhawks feel a part of what you're about. It's almost that they've stuck with you through thick and thin, and always believed that what you were doing was excellent material, and it was just a question of time when everybody else would sort of wake up to the fact that there's the genius within.
Well, I'm glad that we've been able to have people stick with us. It's always a testament to the depth of the music and the intelligence of your audience. We've been very happy about. You don't want to have a bunch of people coming in and out, liking you for a record and then moving on. There's very fulfilling about that.
Now this is the first album that Columbia is doing, obviously because of their deal that they've done with American, and obviously now owning that label. Does that mean, as I say, obviously with you going to, intending to go to places like Australia, is that a place that you guys like to be at now? This is with the fifth album that you would like to sort of play to the rest of the world and take it outside of America and to new territories.
Well, we've wanted to do that for a long time. We had our work papers for Australia years ago, and the tour got canceled. I believe we were going to be the warm-up band for the Counting Crows in 1995.
Okay.
I believe, when they were on their first record, and I think Adam developed a singing or throat problem of some sort, and it's been on our agenda for a long time. It always is somewhat dependent on how much interest there is in the country.
Sure.
And certainly the record company wants you to go to the places where you have the most interest first, and then so basically we've wanted to go for a long time to many different places. We have spent a lot of time in Europe, but mostly Western Europe. So the Jayhawks would like to get out there as much as possible. No different than before. It just seems like now we have more ability to. The record company seems fired up. We have on the last record, the record company had problems. The record before that, Mark Olson quit about 2/3 of the way through the tour. So I think this is the first time we've been set up to actually tour the full life of the record. We want to.
Because you're quoted as saying that this is a crucial record for you. What makes it so? What is what makes it crucial?
Well, I always regret these bios. They quote something you just throw out.
Journalists.
And maybe it was just a day. I truly believe that any record's a crucial record for you because nobody's guaranteed a lifetime in the music business making records. We've been lucky to do it for a long time. But we can't expect to be given an opportunity to make a record with a company like this all the time. You know, this is, and I think the main thing is we haven't been around for a while. So when I think we said crucial, I guess we meant like, well, we have a lot of work to do to get the attention of our old fans, let alone get some new ones.
And when you look at Smile, what would you say is, I mean, what is the single biggest attraction to you when you look at the album and sort of go, well, the reason why people should be listening to this album and the reason why it actually has a place is because of what?
The songwriting mainly. I mean, the songwriting is strong, and I don't hear anybody else writing songs like we do. I think we're just a unique band, and we write songs in maybe the classic way. There are a lot of people I really respect. Somebody like Moby, who's very interesting. I don't know if I consider him a great songwriter, but it's almost linear song music sometimes, or sampling and mixing. But as far as just a pure songwriting, I'm very proud of the band, and I don't think anybody sounds like us, sings like us, and there's a depth to the music that is is undeniable, I think.
Because we've live actually coming out on tour in South Africa in about 2 weeks' time, and I was speaking to Ed Kowalski last night, and also obviously with regards live, I mean, a different band, but songwriting also a very crucial area, and I think certainly a big part of their success comes through in the fact that there's wall-to-wall trivial sort of nonsense on the radio, but very few truly credible songwriters out there that are releasing commercial albums that actually matter, without sort of selling out and or writing sort of trivial pop tunes. There's certainly 3, potentially 4 dimensions happening across what the Jayhawks are doing, and that probably applies to live in a lot of respects. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I respect that band. I know Ed, and I call him Ned.
Any reason why?
He's a good. Huh?
Any reason why you call him Ned?
Because I met him in Holland and called him Ned by mistake.
Okay.
Become a little joke.
Okay.
We're comparing eyewear at the time. He's a good guy, though, and I think their band is good. I think what you said is interesting, that we are attempting to put out credible music with depth in a commercial arena, and I think it's easy to go and say, well, I'm just going to make some little record and sell it myself, and we're going to be the kings of our hometown. But I like to reach. I'd like to make more of an impact and help. It's almost a goodwill project. Try to help radio change, because radio used to be good, and young people are smart, and they can be given interesting music, and they can like it, and that feeds off itself. What's happening now is they're being given a diet of music that they're starting to get used to, and I don't want them to.
Because I think everyone is always quick to, and I think musicians as well, always quick to point a finger and say, well, the state of music is so bad, and if only things were different. But as you say, the only way that you're going to do that is if you actually use that platform to help educate the listeners out there into what is actually what makes for a truly good band, that it's not just a one-dimensional thing.
Well, when I think of what people listened to on the radio in the 60s and 70s, it was there was some bad stuff, but there was some really good stuff, and 18-year-old kids, 16-year-old kids were able to listen to it and dig it. And, I don't think kids are any dumber now, so I think it's just really, I equate the period now to early 60s in music, when the airwaves were dominated by Fabian and Bobby Rydell and Frankie Avalon and a lot of that stuff. And there's something like the Beatles needs to hit the radio waves to shake people up and say, hey, I'm not gonna listen to this drivel.
I mean, was that one of the reasons why you sort of pulled Bob Ezrin in, that he could perhaps help capture that for you?
Well, not really. I mean, the reason we used Bob is because his resume just showed me that he was just. We knew we were going to get an interesting record, no matter what happened. He was going to take us on somewhere that we hadn't been before, and that's what we wanted to do at this time. We didn't want to go through the motions and just try to make a record that we could do in our sleep. And Bob was the one producer who responded to our tape with a very detailed letter. Song by song he went through and discussed it, and he was passionate about it, so we liked the passion.
Because I mean, you made reference to Moby earlier, and it's actually quite interesting because I mean that was an album that came out last year, and I think probably got lost in the amount of material that was being released around about that time. But I think the sign of any album is that if it's worth its salt, it's going to, I think, like all your albums have, and that's what sort of gives you that sort of classic edge, is that if it's good enough, it might not get to number one on the Billboard charts, but it's certainly going to irritate the top 50, not for a month or 2 months, but probably indefinitely if it can. But that's the sign that people will tire of the boring stuff or the one-dimensional stuff, and the good stuff eventually wins the day.
What's the other good Moby stuff to get? Because all I have is the played record.
Yes, I think everybody has that one.
Yeah, and I know there's other ones that...
there were two others, yeah.
I suppose any of them are probably interesting.
But I mean, so in his case, that album came out, did a bit of business, and then sort of moved away. But then it didn't disappear altogether. And then it sort of now all of a sudden has become a really big commercial album. But if it wasn't as good as it is, it certainly would have disappeared. And I think the same with your albums, that each and every one from the debut. Those albums are still sort of out there, are still, I mean, as catalogue items tick through month on month. People are still picking up these albums and getting into it. So they are all still relevant. In the Knolls, they're still relevant, which I think must be a credit to your songwriting.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Now, the album's been out in the States, just for about a month now, just under a month?
2 weeks.
Okay. And the response from America, has it been good?
Yes, I think so. It's kind of we haven't really toured much, so we're going out next Thursday. We're starting. As far as the response from people in the audience, still early to tell. But the record, it's going fine. It's going well. We're pleased with it so far. What it needs to do is to continue on. And it needs to be heard on the radio as much as possible, which it seems to be going in that direction. But we'll see. We're cautiously optimistic about its success, but we know that we made a good record. So, and I know that I get excited to think there are people maybe at this point putting it on for the first time. It's exciting for me to think about.
Because I think it certainly sounds. I mean, with with the place that you're in now, you as a collective, as a band, certainly in a very good place, still very sort of enjoying what you're doing as a band.
Well, we never burn ourselves out like a lot of bands. That's part of the reason we're still together. And we didn't really tour much until 1992. The first 7 years of our band's existence was really, we all worked jobs, and we put out a couple records, and we toured a bit. But we didn't tour a lot until we had a record out on a major label, and that's 92. And then 95, we Olsen left, and so we shortened our tour. And then at Sound of Lies, we only toured a couple months because of the record company's problems. So, you know, in reality, this band has only toured, you know, 4 or 5 years, solid years, I think. And so it's still somewhat new to us.
And so there's certainly no ceiling on where it's going to go, which is quite a nice place to be as well.
As far as what, the record success or the band?
Well, the band.
Yeah, that's. I think that was the goal we had in the last couple of records, was to get to a point where.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I have another interview.
Okay,
I'll finish this question. I was just going to say it's nice to be able to say this band is the Jayhawks, and they can do a lot of different things, and you don't know what to expect, but you know that it's going to be interesting.
Well, Gary, thank you so much for your time.
Okay.
And all the best with it.
Where in South Africa were you calling from?
I'm in Cape Town.
Cape Town. Okay.
There we go. Next time you watch CNN, you can see where it is.
Okay.
Thanks very, very much.
All right. Bye.
Have a good weekend. Bye bye.